All right. So power ranking on offense, they've got the Commanders 3rd, the Packers 10th. All right. Now, this is a key point here, and I've seen Jen in the chat highlighted it. Strength of schedule played so far. It's only one game. According to strength of schedule with the PFF, the Commanders played the 27th best team in the Carolina Panthers, right? We played the 5th best team in the Detroit Lions. So that is important, right? To kind of take that into consideration as well. Average offensive snaps. Is this right? Is this really right here? They had 72 offensive snaps. We only have 48. Does that sound right to you, Emilio?
I'm pretty sure.
That's wild. That's wild. So they ran the ball.
They were whooping on the Giants. I mean, they were whooping on them.
Was it the Giants? So it wasn't the Panthers. It was the Giants. Is that who it was? I couldn't remember who they played.
Yeah, I could have swore it was. Let me double check. I'm pretty sure because then the Cowboys are playing the Giants next. They had back-to-back divisionals, kind of like the Bears and Lions. Someone's going to be 0-2 in that. I mean, that's exciting.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I was just thinking they're both sucky teams, so they're kind of in the same category. That's like Panthers or the Giants, right? They're both bad teams.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, percentage of run plays. All right, they only ran the ball 41% of the time. We ran it a 50-50 split here, Tim. We had a good balanced attack. Even though we weren't effective at running the ball, our EPA per run, minus 0.23. Theirs was a positive 0.29. However, our EPA per pass, a positive 0.59. Theirs was only 0.19. So I think this is going to be a slobber knocker, man. I think it's going to be a great ball game to watch and a good measuring stick for this Packers team because, Tim, there was a lot of people that were saying the Packers might start 0-2, and that's going to be a tough look. And now we're sitting here going, we might be able to start 2-0. And if you do somehow, some way get a win there against the Commanders tomorrow night, you're putting yourself in a position to possibly go 7 or 8-0 based off how the schedule looks if you can beat two of the toughest teams in the NFC early, man.
I agree. And like you said about running the ball, right? Maybe we were ineffective, especially early going against Detroit. But, I'm a defensive guy, but offensively speaking, man, I think you're only ineffective in the run game if you get away from it and you bail on it. We were willing to take minimal gains and, keep that defense honest by running the ball. I don't care if it's a yard here, a yard there. We had a lot of 3rd and longs. Luckily, we converted on a lot of those 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10 kind of plays. But I think you only hurt yourself, especially in this Matt LaFleur offense, if you bail on the run. And you're running RPO or play action with no run game to support it. The defense isn't going to fall for that. And they're just going to keyhole you and you're going to be in trouble. So I think the balanced attack is going to be the key to this game again against a good Washington team. And I'm with you, Clay. I think it's going to be a barn burner, man. I think this will be a closer game than we saw on Sunday against Detroit. But ultimately, I think we get the dub as long as we don't get away from that run game.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Looking at the money here, Emilio, in terms of the market, right? We are 3.5-point favorites as it sits right now. The PFF projection actually has it a little bit more in the Packers' favor at minus 3.6. Okay. The implied cover probability, 50.2% for the Packers there to cover, meaning basically they will beat the Commanders by 4 points or more, right? Is what it essentially is saying there. Break even, 52.4%. Value, minus 2.2% there in terms of their value. So obviously better value than the minus 2.6%, taking the plus 3.5 for the Commanders, okay? When you look at the money in terms of the spread, 51% of the money is on the Packers and 55% of the slips, the actual bets, are on the Commanders. So that's somewhat of an even split there. I always err on the side of the overall money. So I would say the public is on the Packers side here. It makes me feel really good, though, Emilio, that it's only 51%, because when you get the public 65% in the Packers' favor, I get worried there, man. I really do.
65%.
65%. That's what Thank you, Tim. Because when you get the public on a team way more than, it being close to a 50-50 split, there's a reason that Vegas can hand out those free drinks with the pretty little umbrellas in them, and we've seen, I think last week, the books won Vegas won over the public last week in terms of the NFL. So anything you want to add?
No, I was just, I took a peek. So it looked like the Commanders had 65 plays. but 432 yards, 220 rushing. They only went 4 for 11 on third downs. I mean, I think we do have a good shot. I really do. And yeah, I like what you're saying there. You want to be able to, keep that money as even as possible where, it's not getting too one-sided, either way.
Yeah, for sure. All right, moving along. The money line. This is just winning outright, okay? The Packers are minus 179. The Commanders are 150, okay? So that's how that lies. Obviously, the Packers are favored to win this game. It goes without saying. Implied win probability is 63.8% for the Packers here, Tim. That's I try not to focus on that number too much, but the fact that that's the implied win rate, there make no two bones about it, man. The PFF system thinks the Packers are going to win this ball game. Doesn't mean they're going to. PFF seems to think that they are. Break evens at 64.1%. Let's look at where the numbers are. 74% of the money on the money line is on the Packers. 82% of the bets are on the Packers. If those two numbers were up top on the spread, Tim, I'd be shaking in my boots right now. I'm not so much worried about the money line, obviously. So,
absolutely. I think it's going to come down to what Hafley and the boys have in store for Jaden Daniels. Clearly a more mobile quarterback than Jared Goff. This is not going to be the same type of vibe we had on Sunday. I don't know how to feel about him. I'd like to say keep him in the pocket, make him beat you with his arm, but we've seen him do that, and you definitely don't want that guy getting out and running around on you. So I think the defense is going to be the X factor in this one for us.
Yeah. As Jay Cole points out too, PFF also thinks we have the 13th ranked defense, and I disagree with that. Same as I'm sure you do, Jay. That's interesting that you could watch that defense against the best offense in the league in 2024, and they went out there and dominated them from whistle to whistle, and to pretend like, oh no, there's 12 other defenses that are better than them. And again, it's early, and these numbers, you don't really want to key too much in on these numbers until you get about halfway through the season, So, yeah. So, anything else you guys want to hit on this screen right here before we move along? We're actually out of time already. That's crazy, man. This show flew by. My gosh. Let's take a quick glance here, all right, at the lineups. Is that cool with you boys? We'll just take a quick look at it.
Yeah, sure.
Obviously, we're going to be in 11 personnel the majority of the time. They're going to be in nickel. So, and keep in mind, guys, these are the PFF grades from this year, okay? So, it's just literally one game so far. So, it doesn't, you can click on each of these players to kind of get a better idea of, all right, how good are they? Like, for instance, Kinlaw, their defensive tackle, okay? He has the third highest grade according to PFF at an 89.7. Tim, you see that 89.7 and you think, man, that's a Tuesday player. However, click on the profile, look at his career grades, 54, 50, 31, 53, 53. So one of these do not belong, right?
Yeah,
now,
the grade that he has this year off of one game.
Exactly.
Probably doesn't belong.
I'm not counting him as a Tuesday player. I don't know how you feel about that. So
no, I would agree. He'd be a guy that's probably got to prove more, though. Someone you shouldn't overlook, though, right? Obviously had a monster game last week, so we can't take him for granted. But, yeah, it's true. I think that's kind of an inflated number at this point.
Yeah, and then when you look at the other defensive tackle, they've actually got them listed as left ends, which I'm pretty sure they must play a 34. Actually, let me see real quick. Yeah, they play a 34, so that's why. All right, got it. So Daron Payne, been a pretty decent player throughout his career. He graded out a 77.1 last week. You look at his career grades, though, 67, 67, 70, 63, 64, 61, 51. That's not a Tuesday player. Doesn't mean he can't have a good game. Just simply means you're not building the game plan around how do we stop this dude, right? So they do have Von Miller, right? Look at Von Miller's career grades, man. Isn't that crazy? That's a first ballot Hall of Famer. 90, 93, 91, 90, 91, 90, 91, 90, 79, 91, 85. And then in 2023, he dips to a 53.
He was injured. He was injured in 23, wasn't he?
Well, it's got him ranked, so it's got to be a decent amount of snaps, or else they wouldn't have him ranked. But I want to say, yeah, I think he did get injured that year, though, Tim. 2024 last year, 85.5. So he was back to being his old self there, right? The 11th highest edge defender according to PFF. This year started off slow with a 50. If we were to identify a Tuesday player so far, that's my guy right there. Like Von Miller might still have a little gas in the tank. Let's make sure we're aware of where he's at. It doesn't mean you make yourself play left-handed to try to neutralize him. Just be aware that's your Tuesday player, I believe, on the defensive line for sure. So
I agree.
All right. So when you look at anybody else that kind of pops up here on the radar. They do have Marshawn Lattimore, right?
Yep.
He hasn't been like standoutish, He's not a bad player, I don't think, but last year a 56.8, so you wouldn't really look at him, even though he's the 11th overall pick when he came out in the draft. I wouldn't look at him as a game record. Here's a dude, though, Bobby Wagner, who
here's a guy
continues to play good football. Last year, an 88.3. This year, just one game, 72.6. So you got to be well aware of how they're going to use Bobby Wagner in the middle of this defense, right? That's another guy. So for me so far, Tim, I'm looking at Von Miller, Bobby Wagner as two of the Tuesday players. And then, of course, Will Harris had a great game last week, but I wouldn't look at him as a Tuesday player. So when you're game planning for this defense, that's who you're looking for, man, is Von Miller and Bobby Wagner. What do you think?
I agree. And much to my point earlier about stick with the run game, maybe Bobby Wagner isn't the pass rusher that he used to be, but he's definitely going to be helpful in the run fits. So is Von Miller. You've got to keep running that ball, keep that defensive front honest, and then go attack those corners, attack Amos and Sainristil, Lattimore. I look at these matchups right here. Matt Golden against Trey Amos. You got Bird in the slot against Sainristil. You got Lattimore against Dobbs. I feel like we're crushing all of those matchups just on the surface. So I would run to set up the pass and hopefully light up those corners. And, like you said, the safety group doesn't look that intimidating either. So I'd be attacking this secondary from an offensive perspective.
Yeah, definitely. So when if you're saying let's try to establish a running game this week, right?
Yep.
Okay, let's take a look at what kind of coverage they run. Last year, the Commanders ran cover 1 man 28% of the time, cover 3 zone 25% of the time, cover 2 zone 20% of the time. In one game this year, albeit it's just one game, they played predominantly cover 1 man, if I remember correctly. If I could find them on this list, maybe they're too low.
I see them right under the Bears. Yeah, 33% cover 1 man.
Okay, there you go. Why am I not? Okay, I see it now. 33%. So based off of your tape from last week, and typically the way you do this, guys, is you want about a 4 or a 5 game saturation. So what you'll probably do is go look at your last head-to-head matchups against Dan Quinn. What did he like to do? You'll look at the last 4 games that they played. And obviously last week is where you'll carry the most value in what they may do from a game planning standpoint. So the fact that they ran predominantly cover 1 man, was that because they were playing with the lead and wasn't worried about the run? Could have been the case, as Emilio pointed out, with them playing the Giants and beating up on a bad team, right? So try to establish the run early. Don't be surprised if it works, Yeah. But if you're forced to play from behind, and they go out of that cover 1 man and they shift into more of what they did last year, which they played a lot more zone than they did man coverage like every other team in the league did, you might find yourself attacking a cover 2 and a cover 3 variation. So I'm with it, though, Tim. Based off what we've seen with Kinlaw, on the surface looks like a great player. You dig a little deeper. No, he's not. And then, of course, you got Von Miller. I don't think run defense is Von Miller's strength. He's obviously a good pass rusher his career. So let's try to establish the run and probably do it with a duo attack. So, Emilio, you got anything to add here, man? We basically identified 2 Tuesday players here. If you had to comb through and really try to find them, I think it's Von Miller and it's Bobby Wagner.
Yep. I was just going to say Wagner. I mean, and you just kind of go with the veterans there at that point. You kind of lean on them. You say, all right, what do we know? We've seen them for a decade at this point plus. Build off of that, and then, maybe attack the young guys. You got Lattimore, Sainristil, Amos. Yeah, young dudes that you can go after, and make a change there with that. But I'm not too concerned after, kind of diving into it a little bit. I hope, Matt can get it going. Then, we can always run the ball. Just keep feeding Josh, get Emmanuel going, and just, sort of lean on that. But, again, like Tim was saying, play with a little bit of a lead. You're in business.
Yeah, for sure, man. All right, there you go. There's the preview, our offense against their defense. Let's switch over to our defense against their offense now. Let's just keep it with the nickel look, our nickel 4-2-5 against their 11 personnel. And I'll start to run down the offensive numbers so we can see tendencies there. And Emilio, you just go when you got to go, buddy. I seen your message there, man. You do your thing. If you guys would take a quick second, we got a bunch of people in here watching. Thank y'all for making us a part of your evening. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, and click that bell icon so you're notified every time we do go live here in the future. Thank y'all for hanging out on this eve of Thursday night football. We got Packers in all whites tomorrow. Got the winter storm warning game. It's going to be a dandy, man. It's going to be a dandy. So, all right. Let's take a look now at their offense. Let's identify some Tuesday players on offense, and let's start right here at the top of the list, Mr. Jaden Daniels. This dude, he is electric, Tim. This guy is on pace to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He's probably right now, it's early, but I would put him in the conversation of top 5. And if he puts together a string of 4 to 6 weeks of this type of play that he showed last year and he showed in week 1, you're gonna be talking about top 3 for Jaden Daniels. This dude is a real deal, man.
Yeah, I was hoping for a sophomore slump, but I'm not naive enough to believe that it's going to happen. He's certainly the real deal. I think he's proven that so far, and we have to account for him. I don't know if that means running some spy looks or whatever we have to do. Maybe you just put Edrin Cooper on him all day long and just have him spying him. But he's a guy that can beat you with his feet and his arm. And I think for a second-year player, his FBI is off the charts compared to guys that were in his draft class, at least that we've seen since last year. So, yeah, Jaden Daniels for sure. Real deal.
Yeah, and again, what does he do well? Everything.
Yeah,
he's an excellent passer. He's got elite athleticism. He can move. They can break out the RPR game on you. This is your first taste of Jeff Hafley with Micah Parsons in the lineup, where you're going to be going up against a 6-back offense. Now, listen, he's not going to run with power like a Josh Allen and a Lamar Jackson does. That's someone that's truly they're just going to design runs. Hey, let's run QB power when we need to type of guy. But boy, oh boy, can he hurt you with his legs. So someone in the chat earlier, Chase mentioned it, and I think I've still got it marked. Here we go. Chase Green said, Clayton, are you afraid of running stunts against Daniels? He can spot those and run forward. I like a basic rush tomorrow. I wouldn't steer too clear of the stunts because the way we run stunts is we usually have a scrape coming off of it. And you'll notice, Chase, if you dive into the tape, when we do those scrapes off the stunts, let's say you run a torch stunt, right? You've got the 2 defensive tackles stunning. They're essentially twisting, right? The guy who goes first typically will engage, take the blocker, and then you see him immediately work himself back a touch and watch for the quarterback to rush, okay? And when you do that and you stun inside, if that guy stunts inside across the quarterback's face to his right hip, the quarterback's going to look to scramble left. We've been scraping a linebacker off the opposite side.
Yeah.
Right. And we've seen it with Quay last week. We've seen it, over and over and over. So this might be the game, Tim, where you put Micah Parsons in that A-gap as Joker a little bit and let him be that scrape where the second Jaden Daniels tries to pull that ball down, you're blitzing, but you're not blitzing recklessly to where, okay, we got to, we're going to be out of our rush lane. So essentially you're
like
trying
to blitz contain, basically. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And if he doesn't look to scramble and you got all your rush lanes, under control, then let Micah continue coming after him. I could see that. You could also do that with Edrin Cooper, right? And have Micah rush off one side and draw a double team. Okay. This screams another good Rashawn Gary game for me, just personally, because if you truly attack it with some kind of spy principles for Jaden Daniels and they take all their attention and put it towards, okay, they got a spy. We need to try to attack down the field if they're going to occupy with a spy. We got to double team Parsons. It's going to be real easy to forget about Gary. So now they may look at the tape we seen last week, though, Tim, and go, boy, Gary looked damn good last week. We might want to put a little double action on him and see if we can handle Parsons one-on-one. If you do that, good luck with that with Parsons as well. So it's going to be fun, man. It'll be interesting here. Jaden Daniels is an X factor. There's no doubt about it, though.
For sure. I would look for them to try and get some kind of a run game going, too, pretty early on to help their passing attack. I don't know. They got Austin Eckler, and I forgot who the other back is there.
No right offhand either, but they've got Austin Eckler listed as the starter. I don't see him as a Tuesday player, but he is one of those guys that can put it together for a game, for sure. So, and that's another thing too. I don't know if this is true or not, Chris. Chris in the chat said, I heard Parsons had 4 sacks last year against him. I remember when we broke down the highlight reel, multiple times he ran Jaden Daniels down. And you can see Jaden Daniels was looking to do one of his little, hey, I'm quicker than everybody else on the field, and Micah Parsons has something different to say. So
Connerly Jr., rookie right tackle as well, I believe. So look for that matchup.
Good stuff.
It'd be fun to see Micah against Laramie Tunzel too. I mean, you're talking about great on great, right?
Right. So I'm not worried about the run game other than the six-back offense, right? With Jaden Daniels' ability to run the football, okay? And let's look at the receivers real quick. Zach Ertz, I should say, his best football is behind him. I don't see him as an X factor, as a Tuesday player. Terry McLaurin, however, last week had a down week, 60.6, but boy, oh boy, Tim, he is one of the best receivers in the game. This is the guy at the receiver position. You want to make sure you don't let him beat you, right? Now, the beautiful thing about playing zone heavy, which the Packers did and will continue to do, I think, is you don't have to worry about bracket covering because you got it covered. You've got leverage over the top where Terry McLaurin can't beat you over the top. You just might want to tell the defenders, hey, listen, know where number 17 is, and let's cheat in that direction a little bit. You remember we watched the tape, and I think it was you pointed out Quay Walker getting really deep on that dig route.
Yeah.
That type of stuff.
Yep.
That type of stuff. Hey, Quay, wherever Terry's at, cover your zone. But if you're going to cheat in his direction.
Side. Yep.
Right. Yeah, that type of thing. And again, if you're wondering, okay, why would you do that with a linebacker underneath? Because if you're playing a lot of zone defense and the way we ran, cover 2, cover 6 switch, that was wild to see, and break it down on Chalk Talk. Cover 3, those type of looks, you've already got over-the-top help, right? So they're going to start to hammer you with those hitches, those curls, those digs, that type of stuff. So, and again, as long as the pass rush hits home and you got proper contain on Jaden Daniels, you should be able to help neutralize Terry McLaurin by getting to the quarterback quicker, right? That's really what it's going to come down to. So my Tuesday's players so far on offense, Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, you got to really figure out how to stop them. Debo's still playing pretty good ball here, Tim. Debo Samuel, 71.9. Last week he had a 70.9 the week before. I would put more attention to McLaurin than Samuel, but you can't forget about him too.
No, absolutely not. And that's where it's going to come down to, I think, our linebackers too. We know Quay can cover. We know Coop can cover. I'd be watching Samuel in the slot, man. A lot of crossers, probably, post routes, those kind of things, maybe outs. I don't think he's, the threat he used to be, but definitely a guy you can't just write off, man. We got to take him seriously.
Yeah. And let's see Brown over here. Noah Brown, not overly concerned with him. Big body receiver, 6'2", 215 according to PFF, but not overly concerned with him. You don't want to build your defense around stopping him.
Yep.
You
Good
pointed
test
out
for CV this week, right? Terry McLaurin lining up against Terry McLaurin. Looking forward to seeing that matchup.
Yeah, and like you pointed out, at tackle, Josh Connolly Jr. over there at right tackle, he's a rookie, man. Only got one game under his belt. At guard, nothing to write home about there with Allegretti, I guess is how you say the name. Mm-hmm. At center, they're showing Biadaz. Nothing to write home about there. Coleman at left guard. No, nothing to worry about there. And then you got Laramie Tunsil, who has been one of the best tackles in the game. So left tackle, what I would like to see, Tim, is wherever you move Micah, you might want to put Micah over that left tackle because he beat Panay Sewell like a drum last week.
Yeah.
Which I got to be honest with you, LVN did a couple times too.
Yep.
But put your best pass rusher over there on Laramie Tunsil. If you do that, and they've got one of the better tackles in the game, and they still have to bend an extra guy over there to help block him, boy, oh boy, do you like your chances of Rashawn Gary or Lucas Van Ness against that rookie right tackle,
Absolutely.
Now, the other way you could attack it, Tim, is you could put Rashawn Gary on Tunsil's side and force them to double team block, Micah Parsons on the opposite side. I would rather them force them to double team block him on Laramie Tunsil's side to give Rashawn Gary it's kind of like the old Bill Belichick bullseye defense where, rather than put our number one corner on their number one wide receiver, what he would do is he would put a double team on their number one wide receiver of the number 2 and number 3 corner or the number 2 and the safety. And then he put his number 1 corner on their number 1 receiver. Immediately following the snap, 2 guys on my 1, force them to play left-handed to their number 2 receiver who's going up against our best corner type thing. So I kind of see it that way with the edge rush here in Laramie Tunsil. Put Micah Parsons on his side predominantly. That way we've got a true matchup, a mismatch with Rashawn Gary and LVN on the weak side there with Josh Connolly Jr. And listen, this isn't to say Josh Connolly Jr. ain't going to be a great football player. This might be the game that he breaks out in. Just based off what we've seen right now, he seems to be the weaker link of the tackles. So
I would agree. And then keep the emphasis on that interior too, right? Like you said, some A-gap mug looks, maybe send a few. The interior of that O-line looks like the the Achilles heel for that offense. I think we should attack there too.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So again, just a recap on offense, Terry McLaurin and Jaden Daniels, man, those are the two guys you really got to key in on. Don't forget about Deebo Samuel. I would you're going to move Micah around. And like I said, I'm good with him playing a little joker and doing some of those scrapes off of those torch stunts in the middle to try to confuse Jaden Daniels and get him in a vulnerable spot. But don't forget about Deebo Samuel. He might still have a little gas in the tank. So
for sure.
That's it. There's your little PFF preview, guys. We're going to wrap it up right there. And we'll be back tomorrow, Tim. I can't believe I'm about to say what I'm about to say, man. We got a pregame show tomorrow, baby. You're not going to be here for it, though, are you?
I'll be tailgating in lot 1 with the family and 80,000 or so of my close personal friends over at Lambeau Field. So I'll try and check in from the tailgate for pregame.
And you know what we say? We say, Tim, you're not going to have a daddy soda, are you? And he'll say,
what are you talking about? That's my job.
All right, man. Well, you enjoy the game tomorrow. Maybe if you get a chance, send us some pictures on Twitter and I'll throw them up. Anything you tweet tomorrow, text me, say, hey, Clayton, I tweeted some stuff out, and we'll put it on the pregame show, that type of thing. But
good,
don't let it interfere with your experience at Lambeau. Obviously, top priority, have a good time, man. So
appreciate it.
All right, so what time does the game kick off Lambeau time tomorrow, Tim?
Lambeau time is 7:15 Central. So 7:15 Central kickoff.
Awesome. So tomorrow, guys, we will be going live at 6 o'clock Central time, Lombardi time, Lambeau time, okay? 6 p.m. Central time, we'll go live for our pregame show, and then that'll take you up to about 10 minutes before kickoff. We'll get you the actives, the inactives, all that stuff, any news that's broke, any updated injury information. We'll show you live shots from inside the stadium and the whole buzz around that. It should be absolutely wild for Thursday Night Football, two of the best games or two of the best teams in the NFC. And then immediately following the game, if you want to stay up late and be a rebel and go into work on Friday morning feeling like ass, hang up late with us for the post game show. We'll be running late for that. So appreciate everybody in the chat, man. Y'all were awesome tonight. I want to give a shout out to Aaron Rodgers, Godsmack AR69, Clint the Armchair Quarterback, and our buddy Jarrell Lee. Thank you all so much for the super chat. You are too kind. We really appreciate the support. And make sure you guys hit like, subscribe, click that bell icon so you're notified every time we go live if you were new here. If you were new here and go, this show sucked, we agree. Please don't tell anybody it sucked, okay? So we'll see y'all tomorrow. Everybody have a great evening. God bless.
There we go.
Bye, guys.